You see a headline like this, a threat to sink an American aircraft carrier, and it's designed to grab your attention, right? But is there any real fire behind that smoke, or is it all just high-stakes political talk? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and figure out what's fact and what's fiction. So, where did this all come from? Well, a U.S. carrier moves into the neighborhood near Iranian waters, and bam, Iran drops this bombshell of a claim. I mean, think about it. Sinking a $10 billion warship, a floating city in minutes? That's a bold, bold statement. But does the military math actually add up?
And that's the real question, isn't it? Can one of the most powerful symbols of military might on the entire planet actually be taken out that easily? Let's dive in and find out.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we first have to bust a huge myth. It's a picture we all have in our heads, probably from watching too many movies. This image of a lone aircraft carrier, sailing majestically, all by itself on the open ocean. Because here's the thing, and it changes everything. An aircraft carrier is never alone. That whole idea of a solo voyage, it's pure Hollywood. It's just not how things work in the real world. What you have instead is something called a carrier strike group. The carrier isn't just a ship, it's the crown jewel, the absolute center of a floating fortress. And it's always, always surrounded by a whole fleet of other warships acting as its bodyguards. And who are these bodyguards? We're talking about destroyers and cruisers, bristling with the most advanced radar and missile technology you can imagine. And that's just on the surface. Hiding just below the waves, you've got nuclear-powered submarines. Their one and only mission, protect the carrier at all costs. Okay, so we know it's got a whole squad with it, but how does this floating fortress actually defend itself? Let's take a closer look at what makes this defensive shield so tough to crack. The secret sauce here is multi-layered defense. It's not one single wall. No, it's way smarter than that. Think of it like a Russian nesting doll of security. To get to the center, to the carrier, an attacker has to punch through layer after layer after layer of interlocking defenses. So just picture this for a second. An enemy missile is launched. It's streaking across the sky, but hundreds of miles out, way before it's even close, the radars on those escort ships have already seen it. They've locked on, and in an instant, whoosh, interceptor missiles fire from their decks, screaming out to meet that threat and just vaporize it in a fireball long before it ever gets a glimpse of the carrier. So with this incredible defensive web in mind, let's circle back to Iran's threat. What's the actual reality of the situation? Let's get to the final verdict. Now, let's be crystal clear here. This isn't to say Iran is powerless or just bluffing. They have poured a ton of resources into developing some very sophisticated weapons, and that includes hypersonic missiles. And these things are no joke. We're talking about weapons that are incredibly fast, highly maneuverable, and a genuine challenge for any modern military. But here's the crucial difference. Could one of those missiles, or maybe even a whole swarm of them, get through and cause some damage? You know what? It's possible. But could it actually sink a 100,000-ton warship that's literally built to take massive punishment and keep fighting? Well, that's a whole other story. And that brings us right to the bottom line from the analysis. The gap between scratching the paint and putting a supercarrier on the ocean floor is just immense. So let's be precise here. Causing some damage? Plausible. Actually sinking it? Almost impossible. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? If sinking a carrier is a near impossibility, why make such a huge public threat in the first place? What's the real strategic play here, when maybe the most powerful weapon isn't a missile, but the words themselves?